Welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cloud Podcast, the podcast where we learn from cybersecurity experts how to stay safe, private, and secure on the cloud and in code. CSCP is hosted by Francesco Cipollone, your cybersecurity friend with a passion for all things cyber and sharing stories of other professionals with you. This episode is sponsored by AppSec Phoenix, the next generation application security platform, enabling organizations to run application security programs in a smart way. Visit www.appsecphoenix.com to learn more.
Hello and welcome back. This is another part of the OWASP series and application security focused event. I really hope you enjoy application security as much as I do. If not, skip all the two other episodes. But this session is with a friend, Jim Manico, owner of Manicode Security, and organizing a Locomoco security conference in Hawaii. Jim is a good friend, is a person with an enormous positive energy, a person with an enormous knowledge, and usually this mix of people tend to be all over your face. And one of the amazing characteristics of Jim is, despite him being very knowledgeable, he's very approachable, he's very humble, is down to earth, and is a guy that you want as your friend. I've been honored to meet him, to talk to him, and to today have it in the podcast. And he's a very crazy guy. So the episode has gone a little bit crazy with crossbow and going all medieval on application security, and it's really, really fun. So I hope you guys really enjoy this podcast as much as I did to realize it. And I'd like to thank also Zoe, my co-host, because she's been fantastic during these past seasons and upcoming one. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Jim Manico.
Hello. We have Jim and we have Zoe on the call.
Hello, Francesco.
Hello, Francesco.
How are you doing, guys?
Doing great. I'm ready for battle here.
We need to comment this because we're not going to have the video. So I'd like everybody to know that Jim is in a full medieval and crossbow for this and go full medieval on application security. That's enough for the record.
The symbolism is the battle against legacy software, Francesco.
Oh, I love that. That should be your new profile picture. I loved it.
To be clear, though, AppSec is about strategy, not tactic, despite what might be implied by the crossbow. Just putting that out there, right, Jim?
Sure. Well, you got your strategy and you got your taxes. I think you need a little bit of both. I'm a little in tactical mode. I had a little in tactical mode today, but we'll see. We'll talk. I promise we'll talk strategy.
Good.
I think we need to talk both ends because we need tactical solution, and a lot of the clients that I work with is tactical solution. But before we dive in AppSec, I know everybody is keen. Let me introduce everybody. Actually, let's do a round of introduction. Jim, do you want to start, and then Zoe, and then myself?
Sure. My name is Jim Manico. I'm the interviewee for today. I've been a member of the OWASP Foundation for a little more than a decade, and I'm a application security enthusiast. This is a topic. It's my job. It's my passion. I have a lot of fun doing it. And I've been writing software my whole life. And I think that insecure software is becoming one of the most damaging problems facing modern society. So, I've dedicated my career to teaching developers how to write secure code. That's me in a nutshell.
And you're owner of a security training consultancy company called Manicode Security, right?
Yep. I'm the founder.
Just know for the record.
Yeah, I'm the founder and the primary educator of Manicode Security. It's my company, and I have a host of different educators who travel the world and deliver secure coding education from a variety of different specialties. Yeah,
and fantastic entertainment when you're on the stage. And Zoe, go ahead.
I'm Zoe Braderman. I chair the OWASP Women in AppSec Committee, and I've been involved in several OWASP initiatives and projects and conferences, and I am an independent consultant and educator.
And I'm your host, Francesco Cipollone. I'm heading up the security consultancy NSC 42, as well as the Cloud Security Alliance for UK and Ireland. And I'm more than an application security enthusiast. I'm an application security survivor. Let's go it this way. So I say we started with what was the most painful application security element that you're facing, Jim?
I mean, I think clearly the most painful problem in application security is handling the problem of legacy software. You know, we all have software, there's some of it that was built 10 to 20 years ago that still serves a critical function. And having to go back to what's probably really insecure software, insecure processes around it, maybe it's not even being developed anymore, but it still serves a critical function. Having to go back and remediate vulnerabilities of a legacy code base is expensive and it's painful. There's no quick fix. It just takes a mammoth amount of time and re-engineering to bring legacy software up to par with modern security standards. And and everyone wants a quick fix. They want to slap up a firewall or run some scanners but the reality is it takes a combination of security assessment and mammoth re-engineering in order to take legacy software and fix, design problems and coding problems. And that's just expensive and time consuming, and you get no functionality benefit from doing that. But if you want secure software, you have to. And that's what I see as really the most painful and expensive problem in application security today.
So how do we avoid keep on putting tactical solution? Because I see that every day and day people, both want to make money, both want to introduce new functionality, company wants to make money. So how do we avoid actually for critical software, for critical asset, how do we avoid putting yet another tactical solution? How do you sell that to a boss? Like, this is a really painful thing, but this is something that we have to do.
It's in my experience, companies rarely really want to do application security. They often want to check a box. They want to do some stuff. They want to spend a little bit of investment in it, but it's rare where a company wants to really dedicate themselves to secure software because, look, we're to a large degree, we're new at this, and we're set up to lose because developers didn't learn how to do secure software in school. The languages, the frameworks that we're all using are largely insecure by default. The third-party libraries we depend on is a mammoth security problem. And things like DevOps, where we want to automate security testing, it's not trivial to set that up. And it requires a kind of culture change to really move into the world of automated security testing. And even if you do all the best practices in the world, you're reviewing for third-party libraries, you're proactively building secure software, you're running every scanner on the planet, you're still going to have problems with business logic and access control, things that the automation doesn't find. Then you need to hire pen testers and manual reviewers. And that's a mixed bag. And just to really do secure software with today's technology is expensive. It's time consuming. It requires a culture change. It requires, maybe changing dates, setting new requirements. It's such a challenging issue, an expensive issue. And yet people want to get to market. They want to get functionality out the door. So that's that race to hit a date and that competition to get the most functionality out is often in competition with real security engineering.
It's challenging. I agree, and I couldn't agree more that is a cultural transformation, is looking at the application as a holistic from a design, build, test, operation, and DevOps is for me, DevSecOps is for me integrating security in all these elements, not just looking at the automation. For me, DevSecOps it's just all about people rather than just tools and automation. That's what I keep on spreading. So what's your take on it?
Yeah, it definitely is a major part of all of that. Just the human element and the teams and incentives, trying to put values and, essentially from the view of assets and winning, into developers and, executives' mindsets about why it's important and how much they can save. It's just human nature, how much they'll save, how it'll benefit them, usually in monetary terms. I'm not just cynical, I'm honest.
No, it's true. And probably on that take, I had a really interesting conversation in one of my dev training where I said, how do you make application security a priority? How do you make fixing a vulnerability a priority? And somebody from the development team actually came up and saying, do an audit, do external audit, so that effectively they're linked to regulation, they're linked to a monitoring path for the business. The only time where business actually dedicate time to us, to give time to us to actually fix a vulnerability. Have you come across stuff like this, Jim, Zoe?
Yeah, I mean, we see that like in Europe, you have GDPR. You know, we have several different laws. The strongest one in California around data privacy, and I think those laws they're not perfect. They have plenty of flaws. There's regulations difficult when it comes to regulating privacy in software and different IT systems. However, these laws are forcing a culture of security onto a lot of companies more than anything else I've seen in the modern era. And so that's one thing from a legal point of view, which I think is a good thing. The other thing I want to note is that as we move to the clouds, a lot of the cloud software platforms like GitHub, it's such a common platform to base development around that a lot of the security testing is being built into these modern platforms. And so I think those two, these are totally different things, right? We have GitHub providing like third-party security analysis and a whole new platform to do testing and reporting on the third-party software world. And just being able to integrate security testing into GitHub as becoming pretty standard, I think that's a really big deal. So like I can literally spin up GitHub, click a few buttons, and have a relatively DevOps environment from a CI/CD point of view and security testing like that. And in most companies, setting that up is expensive and painful. So with these modern platforms, I can snap my fingers, click a few buttons, spend a little money, and I got this whole testing automation world dialed in. And then again, from the other side of the fence, we have these laws around privacy, which are really beginning to force at least some measure of security engineering as part of those laws, if you really want to do data protection properly. And I think I like those two areas of forward momentum that's going to really encourage more secure software development in the future and the present day.
This episode is brought to you by the generosity of AppSec Phoenix Ltd. AppSec helps startups and enterprises solve complex software security problems by using smart data aggregation and complex machine learning software. Discover how AppSec Phoenix helps CISO and developers remove friction and maximize the use of DevSecOps professionals at www.appsecphoenix.com. AppSec Phoenix is the new and smart dev-first way to manage your software vulnerability. Follow the tag #AppSecSmart.
Definitely. The law is another incentive that often works, similar to, monetary incentives as far as harsh, kind of harsh wake-up calls and, incentives that work. Essentially, it's definitely a push. And having, cloud security service providers specifically and specific tools for that, in addition to certain aspects ingrained within cloud services, privacy by design movement in general, all that research.
So, are we gonna see more and more automated platform with effectively the CI/CD and the security library codes that's completely integrated into a single product? So effectively it's a snap-in, I deploy my code, I test it, and I check it out, like what you have in GitHub. Jim, do you think we're going to see more and more of those things?
I need you to repeat the question, but first, I got a private message from Gumarl, who's like, why are you sitting there in a crossbow? Is someone going to attack you? No, I'm wearing a medieval crossbowman warrior outfit with my medieval crossbow to really help symbolize the struggle we face when dealing with security in legacy software. That's the symbolism of the outfit I'm wearing, Gumarl. Gumarl, does that help answer your question? Is that a good answer? So go ahead. Yes, there we go. So go ahead, Francesco. Ask me that question one more time, please.
So how do we go full medieval in a CI/CD pipeline? How do we make it less painful? the question is really, are we going to see more and more products that have the security the security testing completely integrated in the platform, like GitHub, where all the testing stage are effectively done. It's just a tick in the box or check box.
Well, GitHub for like individual projects, click, and you have some pretty decent security testing rolled out. And I mean, every security scanner I know of, especially in the code security world, tends to integrate. So Ivano would say, did they have treadmills in the Middle Ages? I think they went by different names back then, Ivano. Yes, there is a treadmill. I'm trying to keep the weight down, gotta keep the exercise up. And so, okay, so where was I? If you're a big enterprise with your own code repository, then getting a DevOps and Francesco, I really minimize DevSecOps to be security automation. I know there's a culture and there's people and there's process. No. In my mind, I really reduce all of DevSecOps to let's automate some security testing. That's just my very subjective take on it. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. Just bear with me. And if you're a big company with lots of different software projects and different repositories, then setting up automated security testing is non-trivial, and you really have to experiment with it. Like, you'll set up a couple tests today and run those through your pipeline, and then they may stop the build or be too aggressive. Then you want to pull some tests back, or maybe you put some tests in and now the build takes an extra 10 minutes to run, and so maybe you want to dial that back. These tests work good, let's roll those across more projects. A lot of people want to just buy a DevOps and be done with it. You can't do that. It requires a professional DevOps engineer, DevSecOps engineer, to be fine-tuning and tweaking the different automation options on a regular basis until you achieve some kind of project stability. One of the biggest anti-patterns I see in the automation security testing part of DevSecOps is when people like just turn a pipeline on and add some security testing and then force all their teams to use it and they think they're done. And that's a big failure. That will stop development really quickly. So it really takes experimentation and the ability to customize tooling and customize rules for individual tools across every project. And that's time consuming, and that's expensive and time consuming, right? It's non-trivial.
Yeah. Yes. But no, I agree and I disagree with you on one side. I think DevSecOps is more than that. It's also educating. It's also on the education side, and especially on. I mean, I've seen projects where they developed and they had like security automation, and that's it. They went away and that's it. And I said, well, what about how people are going to use those results, or how they know what to fix and how to fix it? So it's the education part.
I was talking to one of the heads of Netflix application security, and they were like, we don't want to do security. We don't want to teach our developers about general security principles. We have so much in our framework. We just want to teach them how to use our framework properly. And that's enough. And that kind of like horrified me. And to this day, it still horrifies me in that a company will not commit to wanting to really teach developers about security. They just want to they think that they can automate everything, put it in the framework, and developers can just go ahead and write code and they get security. I don't think that's really possible in the modern era. I know Netflix is a real mature company. They do a lot of great work in that area, but I mean,
it's challenging.
In my experience, nobody can just write code and have the world of automation protect them. It does require knowledge, especially around the domain and similar.
And for me, it's also for a commitment to the organization as a whole, to the humanity as a whole, that companies that have the money to actually educate developers about doing security should do so. Because then we create a generation of developers that are with a more security mindset. So if you're an enterprise, you can actually invest in making the world a little bit better. If you're a small enterprise, you can't afford application security training because it's expensive. And OWASP is a good, I want to touch on OWASP and all the good material, because a lot of the folks out there don't know don't know how much material is out there, like ASBS, like the top 10, like the dependency checker, all the stuff that OWASP has done that could take application security a step forward, even if you don't have a big bucks or big budget to actually spend on tooling.
I wish I had a threat model as easy as Netflix to begin with. Like, come on, popping a Netflix account is not the worst of
But they had it easy. On one end, they had it easy because they started on a tech stack that is quite modern, so they can start from there. But for example, on the finance industry, where I operate a lot, we still have COBOL and TLC.
Exactly.
How the heck do you do application security in COBOL? And I'm doing application security in COBOL, and is dialing back 15 years of my life. It's like, no, legacy is pre-legacy. I consider C and C++ legacy, but not COBOL. I consider COBOL almost prehistoric, but we still have a lot of that stuff.
I almost consider Java to be legacy these days in the advent of new languages.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like the new C++ to some degree.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's complex and cumbersome, and it's not as modern. And you've been all over Java, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Java. I still use it in different projects. But I put it, it's maybe legacy is not the right word, but it's
become a legacy.
Yeah, it's like
it's growing gray hair. Java is growing gray hair.
Salt and pepper.
Java is sexy.
It's everywhere. Most every company has some Java out there. It's like we have a bunch of standard frameworks in it. It's part of the Android ecosystem as well. Legacy is not the word. It's just everywhere. And it's just it's become like a pretty standard language. It's been around since the late 90s. Java 1.0.2 was around in 1997 on Netscape 3, and so it's just been around for a long time. And there's a lot of old Java that companies depend upon that's difficult to secure. It's difficult to remediate.
Yeah. Java is like pineapple on pizza. This for us Italian is really blasphemy.
Anyway, you're saying pineapple on pizza is blasphemy?
Yeah, for Italian it's like
you may never go to Hawaii. You are banned.
Yes, do you know who you're talking to? Loco Moco said.
I know. That's why I'm pulling your leg.
Ivano, you can have ham and pineapple pizza. Is Hawaiian pizza. It's the pizza. I've lived in Hawaii for 20 years, so you may not go to Hawaii. I'm sorry, you're banned now, unless you try pineapple pizza.
I'm fine with it. It's it's an abomination. That I said it.
Okay, let's not start a religious war.
My favorite. I like to get I like a cheese pizza, and I like to have a little ketchup and mustard that I can dip my pizza into.
Yes.
That's my.
And jalapenos.
I know you like the hot stuff, Zoe, don't you? She eats handfuls of hot peppers for fun.
I drink hot sauce. I'm gonna join one of those contexts. I'm gonna make mad money. Secure code and survivable hot sauce drinking.
Like the hot stuff.
Yes. Otherwise, I don't feel alive.
Yeah, we should do AppSec and red pepper or like cayenne pepper and
all of the above. Ghost pepper.
The more legacy you go, the hotter the sauce becomes. Here you go.
I like this. We're gonna make this a standardization.
Yeah, let's do a CTF with hot sauce.
Yes.
Let's go back to pizza for a sec. So Ivano, I'm of Sicilian descent. I'm 100% Sicilian, otherwise known as the only real Italians. So, but let's just stop there. So
Ouch.
Yeah, before controversy. Okay. I'm going to be the mediator among ignorant Americans.
Anyone north of the boot is pretty much German in my mind. Sicily is real Italy. And we Sicilians, we have Sicilian pizza. It's kind of like a thicker pizza, usually a lot of meat on it, and sometimes even fish on it, and a very, very spicy sauce, a little less focus on the cheese. That's how my family cooked pizza, and it's delicious. That's real Italian pizza. And again, let's sum it up again. The only real Italians are south of the boots. Like Sicily is real Italy, and everything north of that is pretty much Germany.
All right, I'll give you a pass in that.
You oh boy. Ah,
Probably the
boy.
best argument would be that pizza in general is savory. If you put pineapple in it, it becomes a cake. So.
Well, you can put pineapple and jalapeno.
I like a
They're
little
not mutually exclusive.
Okay, everyone can make their own pizza.
Right,
Whatever.
right,
All right,
right.
We are diverse. We open for diversity. We open for diversity. So, but there is only one true pizza.
We want drama and toxic masculine pizza.
Oh no. Okay.
No. Well, Zoe probably can eat us spicy stuff under the table. So let's not start a competition.
Yeah, I mean, I win automatically. You're welcome. I saved you.
Even though we can start a whiskey competition, and then we can see who drinks who under the table.
Oh, okay,
Whoa!
okay, Francesco.
Chocolate, beer, whiskey, and yeah, I know Zoe, right? Chocolate, beer, whiskey, and hot peppers for breakfast. Now we're talking.
Oh God, that would be sick for weeks.
Oh my
That
God.
by 11 a.m.
Yes.
Francesco, I thought
So now we all know what's
That
gonna happen.
by
in this
11
thing.
a.m.
All right, let's get back to application security.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's get it sidetracked really quickly.
It works. It works.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and post it on social media tagging Cybersecurity Cloud Podcast for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Discover other episodes at www.cybersecuritypodcast.com.